Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We'll call to order the public hearing at 7 p.m. on March 7th. For those of you who have not appeared before us before, if you have your cell phones, please put them on silent or turn them off so that any presenters or speakers are not disturbed during the deliberations or during the proceedings. If you haven't been here before, the first thing that we will do is the petitioners will make their presentation. The board will then have an opportunity to ask questions if they so desire, after which time we will have a request if anyone wants to speak in favor or speak against. If necessary, there may be some rebuttal testimony while the public hearing is still open, and we may or may not take up the petition at our administrative session, which immediately follows the public hearing. With that having been said, the first and only petition on the agenda is 1095 Whippoorwill Lane. Mr. Llewellyn, will you be so kind as to read that into the record?
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So our one and only item tonight, item one on the listed agenda, 1095 Whippoorwill Lane. It's the petition of Joseph McKnight seeking a site plan review and variances of Section 4.2 of the allowed lot coverage, front and side yard setbacks, and Section 4.1.6.14 C1, C3, and C8 in order to construct an attached garage and in-law apartment incidental to a single-family dwelling in an RS3 zone. The listed hardship is pre-existing non-conforming structure with a unique lot shape and topography which makes compliance with the regulations extremely difficult.
Is the petitioner or their representative present? Please come forward, state your name and address for the record, please.
Good evening. My name is Joe McKnight. I live at 1095 Whippoorwill Lane in Stratford. Thanks for seeing me tonight.
Go ahead. Tell us what you want to do.
Oh, okay. All right.
And why you need the variance.
Okay. So I'm hoping to build an accessory dwelling unit, or as I grew up knowing it, as an in-law apartment. My mother is 76 years old. She's got 4 of us kids. If you double the marriages, you could say 7, and then 5 grandchildren in between. And our options are to either send her to Minnesota, where she can join her 2 sisters, or stay around the Northeast with us, and we'd like her to stay kind of near to us. So this is one of those opportunities for us to kind of keep her close. I'm hoping to, as the plans kind of show, I would like to knock down I have a single garage currently. It's on a slab. I would like to knock that down and build an ADU, which has access into my kitchen. And I would also like to keep a garage in this scenario. So you'll see in the plans there's a garage kind of further extended out, and then the second floor living space goes up on the stairs on the wall side, the shared wall side. Tried to design it, tried to design it in a way that would let my mom age there. She does have a hip replaced already, so I want to make sure that if we ever have to kind of institute, and I don't know what those things are called that help you get up the stairs in life, but if we have to institute one of those, I want to make sure she's got room for that. And if there's ever any other medical devices that are needed, I want to make sure there's room for that too. So that kind of explains some of the hopes I had in the design. When you look at my property design, I think the word is trapezoid. I call it a diamond-shaped property, but no matter how you break it down, it's a very strange lot. I love my place, but it's strange. It also has, my driveway intersects with Whippoorwill Lane, Canary, and Florence. It's not so much a 4-way driveway, but it's a strange design that I've got, and it's unlike any other plot that I know in my neighborhood. So it kind of challenges me in terms of how I can build it out. So that kind of explains some of the reasons I needed some of the variances I've requested. And the last thing I would state right now before seeing what questions you might have for me is, I went neighbor to neighbor, had this discussion face to face, tried to show everyone their plans if they want the plans that I submitted so that they could see them without hearing about this first through a certified letter, which I do have receipts for if you want. And all my neighbors that I spoke to were supportive. The most important one was my backyard neighbor, William Gill. He was supportive enough and understood that I'd be coming before the board, so he provided me kind of some written documentation that he's in favor of what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, and has no objections to it. So thank you for hearing me out.
Very good. If you have those certificates of mailing, just pass them around this way. I'll get them to the zoning administration. And if there's any documentation you have from your neighbors, include that as well, if it hasn't already been submitted.
Okay, thank you.
At this point in time, we'll open it up for questions of any members. The one thing I should say, a quick housekeeping matter, replacing the late Mr. Baird is Mr. Sean Kellerman. He was appointed by the town council, so we now have a full and active board at this point in time, and welcome aboard, Sean. If anyone has any questions? Ms. Gibson?
Yeah. You have the same problem that every Uber and Lyft driver's ever had. They never stop at my house because there is, I don't know. I try to drop the pin accurately, but it never works out. The front door faces Canary more than Whippoorwill, in my opinion, which I think also confuses people because my address is 1095 Whippoorwill Lane. I actually don't know the full history of the neighborhood. I've been there for 15 years, so I get the sense when I'm there that this was plots that were built over time. I'm not sure if the way my land worked out was part of the original plan or not. I'm right on the corner, basically. When I try to describe to people where I live, I just say my driveway intersects with Canary, Florence, and Whippoorwill, literally. That's the best way I can describe it to folks. I am, and my neighbor, yes, you're right, because 1096 is the White House across the street from me. That's my neighbor, John. I'm on the odd side, I think. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you. Any additional questions? Ms. Doolan?
I just, you have a proposed garage. Is that a one-car or two-car garage?
Can you repeat? I didn't hear.
You have your existing garage, is that a one-car or two-car?
It's a one-car
And your
garage.
proposed garage, is that one or two?
It's one-car garage. It's a little bit bigger than the one I currently have.
Okay, so.
Further back, like.
So you have a 29-foot driveway that can accommodate additional cars, vehicles?
Yes, right now I do have that.
And will you continue to have that, or will you have to be parking on the street?
Oh, no, I would continue to. I would like to have a driveway that could accommodate 4 normal cars. That's what I have right now,
Okay,
and I'd like to keep that if I can.
all right, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Any additional comments? Any questions, I should say? Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Is that all?
That's all for right now. We may or may not take it up in administrative session, which is open to the public and follows directly after this meeting.
Thank you.
So I welcome you to stay.
Thank you.
If there's anyone in the audience that wishes to speak in favor, anyone who wishes to speak in favor, hearing none, anyone who wants to speak in opposition, anyone who wants to speak in opposition, hearing none, the chair will entertain a motion to close the public hearing portion.
Motion to close, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Mr. Llewellyn, second by Mr. Kellerman. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Just for the record, we did have 2 other petitions that were on the agenda, 50 Houstonic Avenue. The petitioner has asked for it to be withdrawn and placed on the April 4th agenda. And 5120 Main Street, that petition also, the petitioner has asked to be withdrawn. Delayed is even a better word for it, and it will be heard on the April 4th, 2023 public hearing. Since we have nothing else on the public hearing agenda, the chair will entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close public hearing, Mr. Chairman.
Made by Mr. Llewellyn,
I'll second that.
second by Ms. Witham. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. We will now go into the administrative session. First item on the agenda for the administrative session is item number 1, a vote on the tabled items from the previous public hearing agenda January 3rd and February 7th, which is 3 Hickey Street, lot number B. The chair will entertain a motion to take that off the table.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to take item 1 of our regular meeting off the table.
So moved by Mr. Llewellyn. Do we hear a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Ms. Witham. Discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? For the record, Ms. Doolin will be sitting in as an alternate, as she sat in at the original public hearing with regards to this petition. So the petition is now open for action. The chair will entertain a motion to either approve, deny, or table.
I'll make a motion to approve the 3 Hickory Street Lot B.
We have a motion to approve. Do I hear a second?
I second that.
Second by Ms. Gibson. Discussion on the motion.
I do have one question
Yes,
for our attorney. Can I do that?
absolutely, through the chair to the attorney. Mr. Flora.
So,
Attorney Flora.
we got your comment, and one of the questions that I have, although I'm not opposed to, you know, there was something in the street behind on Goodwin that said that they had to have, what was it? Owner occupied. I thought that was weird to begin with, which is why I questioned it. I didn't agree with it, but I questioned it. And in your comments, it wasn't really addressed. And I was just kind of wondering, I mean, it was addressed that we really can't do that, and I don't disagree with that, but I just, in fairness and whatever to all people in town, like, why was one had to do that and the other one didn't? Or might not have to?
I just don't think that, Dan, do you know, was that a Habitat for Humanity house?
Yes, that was for Habitat.
And I don't think the applicant, Habitat for Humanity, had any issue requiring the home to be owner occupied, because don't they convey those properties to owners?
Over time.
Over time?
Over time or something like that. I didn't know at the time that it was a Habitat house when I asked the question.
Yeah, so I guess the issue just never came up then,
Okay.
when that condition was put on the,
Because you don't usually buy a two-family house and not rent the other side, unless you have family in there.
generally no.
I mean, generally
Yeah.
speaking, yeah, I agree. So I was just wondering if there was some legal reason that, you know,
Yeah, it goes beyond even the zoning board of appeals authority. It's more of a baseline zoning issue, is that, you know, a zoning regulation generally cannot prohibit a property owner from renting their property.
and that makes sense,
It's one of the basic things a property owner can do, is rent their property.
right?
So that would go beyond any sort of zoning control, any valid zoning control. Now, I think my memo, I didn't want to get too academic in my memo to you guys, you know, because even my eyes would glaze over. But there was some discussion in the court case I cited that, you know, you may be able to, or the zoning commission may be able to limit such things as short-term rentals, like Airbnb rentals. That's, Dan, I think we were discussing some towns are contending with the short-term rentals.
Yeah, towns all over the state are,
Yeah.
especially along the coast.
Yeah, it's a big beach thing. People, towns renting, limiting short-term rentals. But as far as a carte blanche prohibition on a property owner renting their property, not going to fly.
Right.
And so-
And I don't think it should. I just was
Yeah.
wondering what that was all about.
Yeah, so I just wanted to give you guys the short answer on that issue.
Thank you.
Any additional comments or questions? Then I would just ask that the person who made the motion in favor indicate the fact that the two reasons, well, one is put a stipulation on. If you notice, and I refer to email from John Casey commenting that sufficient off-street parking should be provided outside of the town right-of-way. So I'd like to see that added as a friendly amendment, as a stipulation to the approval, and just clarifying that the regulations are extremely difficult for the permitted use on this site as the hardship being granted.
Right, and I rode by there and took pictures too. I haven't seen any, parking issues at the time I was there.
Right, I believe that the testimony submitted was around holiday time.
Right,
so
it
I can
was,
understand that's
absolutely.
very difficult for a lot of
Yeah,
occasions in
definitely.
town.
I actually did that,
Yep.
that Saturday, and then another time, one Saturday morning, and then I did it during the week. The Saturday morning I went there was only 3 cars parked on the street, and later on, when I went like around end of day, there was a few cars, but there wasn't anything crazy.
Okay.
So you want me to,
Yeah, just, if you'll just
you want me
accept
to
my...
read it, or
No,
just-
just accept my suggestions as friendly amendments.
Excuse me,
Aye.
Carrie, before you do, can I just recommend, I had put in the staff comments that if any blasting is needed,
Oh, yes.
for a pre and post blast survey for the neighboring properties.
Thank you very much. I'd ask for that to be put in as a friendly amendment as well. So we have the original approval and 3 friendly amendments added onto it. So will the seconder accept those as well, Mr. Llewellyn? I mean, Ms. Gibson, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, I second that.
Yep, very good. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries 4-1. Next item on the agenda. Mr. Llewellyn opposed. Next item on the agenda is the items listed on the public hearing agenda. Since we only had one, the chair will entertain any motion to take 1095 Whippoorwill off the table.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to take 1095 Whippoorwill off the table.
Motion by Mr. Llewellyn, do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Ms. Witham. Discussion on the motion. Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. We're now open for business on 1095. Chair will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve 1095 Whippoorwill Lane.
Motion by Mr. Llewellyn to approve. Do I hear a second?
I second.
Second by Ms. Gibson. Discussion on the motion. The only thing I would say is that it does appear that this, what we call it, a diamond lot, it's a very unique shaped lot, which would create a natural hardship. I'm not sure how they decided years ago to put that lot together. That's a very unique plot plan, but that having been said, I can understand the difficulty in it.
Now, before we move forward, I'd just like to thank the applicant for going out, reaching out to his neighbors.
Yeah.
I live in the 9th District. Both of my kids went to Eli Whitney School, and I'm aware that in those neighborhoods, there literally are streets that are kind of like somewhat cross-connected. It's not your typical like Levittown, squares or building blocks next to each other. So, we appreciate you taking the time to go out and do your due diligence with that. Thank you.
Thank you. So, the motion to approve based on hardship, as outlined. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes yes. The motion passes unanimously. Your application's been approved. Next is the approval of the minutes of the January 3rd, 2023 meeting. There was no meeting on February 7th.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the minutes of our January 3rd, 2023 meeting.
I have a motion to approve. Do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Ms. Witham. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Campsite plan review. We had 2 things on the agenda. They've both been withdrawn. That's 50 Housatonic and 5120 Main Street. So there will be no business under item number 4. Item number 5, erosion and sediment control. There is none. Members' concerns, comments?
Mr. Chairman, real quick, only because we're going to be entertaining 2 CAM site plan reviews in the upcoming future, is there any kind of, or more, is there any kind of advice or direction that could be given to us kind of in advance of having to hear and act on those site plan reviews, or is it pretty much just typical of the other
Let me
motions
defer
we've been seeing?
to Dan here.
Yeah, so initially, we had several applications come in for this month's agenda, where I believe 3 of them, or 4 of them have withdrawn temporarily. They either have to go to inland wetlands, there's a coastal site plan review, or harborfront water management needs to review first. I will send out within the next week or 2 parameters to review coastal site plans. Every coastal site plan application that we get is referred to DEEP, where they have a 35-day review period, which also kind of hinders some applications. And they'll provide us with any comments and concerns that they may have as well. So I'll get something out within the week for review of those.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, are we good on that? Item number 7, other items. I don't think we have any other items other than, once again, to formally welcome Sean to the board. That leaves us with adjournment. Chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion by Mr. Llewellyn, second by Ms. Witham. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. We are off the record at 7:19. Thank you and have a good night.